Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I'm delighted to be reunited with New Filmmakers LA alumni with the fantastic short NEUL. Eddie, great to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. For those that haven't seen NEUL, let's take a look at the clip. Eddie, you always kind of shock me what you deliver in a very short period of time, and yet again, you did it yet again. For those that haven't seen your film, tell us a brief synopsis.
So NEUL is it's titled. It's actually a German title for the word unknown, the unknown, or new lands. I actually created it. There's two rational purposes I created it for. The first one was that it's a proof of concept or for a feature project that I'm developing right now, and the other purpose was it was for the Hamburg 3-minute quickie film festival in Germany, actually, for the same theme, being the unknown or new lands. And the story basically is it's a Chinese American waitress who she's American born Chinese. She's sort of trying to figure out her life, figure out who she is, going through a bit of an identity crisis, essentially, being raised in a predominantly small town in America where she's probably the only, one of the very few minorities that are there. And along comes this black limo with a mysterious man who arrives, and he essentially just kind of turns her world upside down. Yeah, so that's kind of it's based on an abduction gone wrong, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, well, if it's proof of concept, Eddie, I certainly need your feature now. Like, that's as far. I didn't like the way you ended it. It was definitely an absolute cliffhanger. Really kind of sad, a really sad, kind of abrupt, obviously ending being with the ambition to be a feature film, which I really can't wait to see. Really touches on a subject that, as we know, is going on all around the world. Where did your inspiration come for you in deciding to make this project?
The inspiration initially was, so thematically, I do a lot of things about that, that are obviously, you write what you know, and a lot of things that are, if they're not directly personal, it's usually about family. This one was originally about based on my sister, and her very difficult relationship that she had with our father, who passed, several years ago. And yeah, it was just one of these things where I think in general, just also with what's going on today with, a lot of anti-Asian sentiment and so forth, it's actually something I've thought about a long time ago, where the woman is conflicted with her identity, which I think a lot of Asians who are born here, at least first generation, they kind of experience this, or in any country actually, probably. And it was just one of these things where, what happens if she just, there's times when people say things that they don't mean, and it's probably been said before that maybe what if I'm gone, or that kind of thing, and it just kind of developed from there. But rather than her actually running away per se, it just, what if she was actually taken? And because there were other stories, concepts that I tried to work, involving sex trafficking and of Asian women and so forth, or just any women in general, actually. So I wanted to really push the boundaries and try to connect the two somehow. And but again, tying it back to her relationship with her father, and seeing how they could just overcome the obstacles with these big challenges in the way.
Well, I'm glad you touched upon these subjects. These are very, important subjects, and they've been relevant for a very, very long time. But it's coming to a heat of understanding universally, way beyond years that it should have been recognized, but I'm so glad that you're bringing this into a film, because it really actually is important subjects. I'm curious though, Eddie, because you do you love giving these little tasters and these little teasers. Is that kind of your forte? Do you find where you like to sort of, if you're looking to make potentially like a feature film, that you like to sort of just put it out there to the festivals and kind of figure out like how people feel about it? Is that something that you like to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously shooting anything is really challenging. It's time consuming and so forth. And what I typically like doing is I usually try to spend at least one weekend a year doing this 72-hour festival, and it allows, the format itself kind of allows me to play with certain scenes from ideas that I have, whether it be it for feature film or just a basic idea that I have, and it gives me a set amount of time to work on it. And I predominantly do the 72-hour shootout, which is by the Asian American Film Lab based in New York. And it's, they issue a concept or a theme rather, and you have 72 hours to come up with the script, shoot it, and, edit and publish it, or upload it rather. And, it's kind of, you massage so many concepts in your idea, in your minds for so long that, I'm able to create somewhat of a formula for myself where I can just kind of knock these things out, as long as I have the people that are around to help out.
Yeah.
So I like using these, that format particularly for just experimenting with different ideas or different scenes again, or pieces of dialogue or so forth. So yeah.
Well, this needs to be a film. Like, it really does need to be a feature. As I say, he left us with such a cliffhanger, and I want to see what happens and see how the story unfolds as well. So with that being said, obviously you're working to move this into a feature. What else are you working on at the moment?
I am also trying to bang out a couple of projects that have been shelved for a while. One of them is a period piece that takes place in 1920 in Venezuela. It's called La Gripe, which is the name of what they used to call the Spanish flu at the time. And it's essentially how the flu overcomes this little village in Venezuela, or back then I believe it was called Gran Colombia, before Venezuela came into being. And the story takes place around a young boy who's he's just a fisherman's boy, but he's fatherless, and he's sort of like the grunt of the village, and how he sort of has been always seeking family. And the Spanish flu again consumes the town, and he's there to help the church, and as well as the scientist to sort of find a natural cure for the flu. So that's one piece. And that was actually, by the way, that was actually I was invited to the first European Sundance Screenwriting Lab back
Great.
in Italy back in 2020. Yeah, so that was shelved for a while, and I gotta get that back going. It's and then the other one I'm working on is a sci-fi thriller. It's a little more fresh, so I'm not sure if I want to do a feature story or try to make it into a series. Series is trending, of course, but we'll do what it works best. But that one's about father and daughter who he loses his daughter, and I kind of don't really want to reveal too much, but it involves of how he can bring her back using technology. So I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, one thing I love about you, Eddie, is I never know where you're going to take us next. What is an Eddie film? Where is an Eddie film going to take us next? Because it's very exciting that you have such a kind of a versatility, in the type of themes that you do and the places that you shoot. It's really, really, really cool. What I would say, because I always feel like you've got I always imagine how great it'd be to be on one of your sets. You're such a well balanced, and you have such great knowledge of as being a filmmaker. I know I continue to ask you this, but in the 2021 person that you are, what kind of advice can you share, even where you are right now, and maybe some of the things you're working on, anything you're learning about in the kind of filmmaking of where we're at today?
The biggest, well, I don't. This is less about film, but more, I guess more about life. But
Yeah.
as we discussed, I've twins. They're 4 years old. They just turned 4, and they're at the age right now where like everything's a fight.
Yeah.
If it's not a boxing match, it's an MMA match. If it's not an MMA match, it's like something else. So yeah, and it's and twins were not in the cards. It was totally a shock, and it literally just threw us for a loop. And it's been very challenging to just have a life, or get normal
Yeah.
sleep, that kind of thing. So so the big lesson for me, and I'm still trying to figure it out, as you do with all kids, is that just try to, how can I create some balance where I can sit and focus for a little bit, while not being interrupted, and also be able to give them whatever I can, and it's really exhausting. Yeah, I mean, it's like one goes off and you spend like an hour with him, and then the next one goes off and it's like another hour, and then it could literally just go on for like hours. It's brutal.
Oh
So
goodness.
yeah.
Well, don't worry, Eddie. In a few years' time, you'll have 2 production assistants for all your films, that can work their way up through the trade. But no, well, listen, congratulations on your twins, and Eddie, I honestly, I love wherever you take us next. It's always exciting. But we love you at New Filmmakers. I'll let you know that. So, but no, really, thank you for bringing this film. It's so you need to make this film because proof of concept, because it really does cover important subjects that we all should be talking about. And you've always got a great way of articulating your vision. So thanks so much, Eddie. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys very much. Thank you very much.